Rick Tittle always goes commando.
All right, Rick Tittle with you, coast to coast and around the world on the American Forces Radio Network. It is our pleasure to welcome to the show Willie and Korie Robertson. You might know the names from Duck Dynasty, and yes, after an 8-year hiatus, they are back on Hulu this time with Duck Dynasty, The Revival. And ladies first, Korie, when you heard it was coming back, did you think, finally, or did you think, uh-oh?
Well, we talked about it for a while. We actually, a few years ago, were like, is this the right time? And just kind of felt like it wasn't quite right yet. And then it just happened that all of our kids were kind of moved back home and had started their families and were back working in the duck call business in some way, or with Duck Commander in some way. And we were like, okay, no, it feels like the time is right. So we jumped in, and here we are. We launched on A&E in June, and now we're on Hulu with all 10 episodes. You can just binge watch them there if you're interested.
Willie, I got to ask, too, because on paper, the idea for this show, people were like, what? And yet, one of the most popular, most watched, biggest ratings in history of any cable series. What was so compelling? It ain't the duck call, it's the people, right? Did you know that the world was going to eat you guys up like this?
Well, I'm glad it wasn't just on paper. So. No, I really didn't have a clue. When you go, we were talking to the network, and they're like, okay, let me get this right. This is going to be a family reality show. There's going to be no cursing, no nudity, no fighting, and you're going to have a prayer at the end of the show. And we think this will work. And we're like, we think so. And it not only worked, it obviously went straight to the top. And so we didn't know. The show came out, and actually the guy that had picked it up at the network, it was his first show to pick up actually at A&E, and he said, well, this show's going to start out low, and it's just going to keep growing and growing, and at the end of the day, it's going to be a runaway freight train. And I was glad he saw that, because I wasn't so sure. You just never know, you put it out there. And
I got to say, though, I was a fan of reality TV at the time. And so there was a moment I looked over at Willie and I was like, I think your family could have a reality TV show. And he was like, why do you say that? And I said, well, y'all aren't normal. And he was like, really? You don't think we're normal? And I was like, no, not really.
I thought we were just normal people. Korie said, no, I've been watching y'all, and y'all are different. Y'all are different kind of people. So she was right.
Well, it turned out a lot of people related to us, though. I don't think it was that people looked at us and thought we were that weird. I think that people looked at it and was like, yep, I got a crazy uncle, too.
Well, Korie, as you know, a lot of reality shows, when the camera turns on, people, they act different. They either act tougher or braver or maybe more of a victim. You guys, it seems like you're just being yourselves. How long did it take for you to just, quote-unquote, ignore the camera crews?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Well, actually, we're all professional actors. We were just casted this way. They're not really my wife.
No wonder.
It's interesting. We did a show on the Outdoor Channel before we got picked up by A&E. So I feel like we got a little taste of it before that. So God kind of prepared us in a way. But we're such a big family. There's always a lot of people around, so having a camera crew around just kind of felt normal. They just kind of became part of our big family, and it was a lot of fun. I will say at first, I think there was a lot of expectation, because that is what most reality shows are. It's like fighting, fake fighting, or real fight, whatever it is. Tables being flipped, all that kind of stuff. And we, from the beginning, knew we wanted to do something different, so there was expectations that, like, our kids would roll their eyes and be disrespectful, and we'd fight on camera, and we just were like, no, that's just really not who we are. We want to try to just be ourselves, and if it works, great. If it doesn't, then we'll go back to selling duck calls. And so we really just kind of tried to stay true to who we were, and have a show that's like positive and fun and funny and all that, and do something a little bit different. And it turned out people were looking for that.
And I think the Robertsons have always been storytellers. We were that way when we were young, and we learned how to tell good stories. I think it came from us being super poor, and we only had 3 channels on TV and no computers or phones, so we just kind of learned how to tell stories around the dinner table. And so, if you think about it, TV is really just telling stories, and so I think we were able to kind of tell our story and tell these stories in a way that's entertaining and also funny. I mean, funny helps.
And also, Willie, for people who don't know, we lost Phil a few months ago, and so people looking for him. I mean, it is definitely a revival as we're seeing. And of course, he founded Duck Commander. People who don't know, and what a character! You know, the story about him at LA Tech, the quarterback, and then he leaves to because it interferes with duck hunting season. They have to promote his backup, a guy named Terry Bradshaw. I mean, he's such a character. Is it kind of surreal to be doing these shows without Phil?
Well, yeah, if you're looking for him in the new show, he's not going to be there. So he has moved on to the next life, and so you know, he had Alzheimer's, so he was already going down. We got one little clip of him on the first show where he kind of gives me the thumbs up, and at that point he was starting to slide pretty bad. And then season 2, the first show, we will honor Phil with a whole episode just of great clips of Phil, and then we also do some family competitions in Phil's honor. And so, yeah, we miss him for sure, but we were happy to see him move on because he talked his whole life about the day he left this earth, and he had such a faith and such a hope of eternal life, and his faith was just so evident in his life, and so it was really special. We were sad, but we also had joy as well, because that's part of life, you know. That's part of life is moving on, and so he made his impact for sure. He was quite a character. I've never quite seen anyone like him, and it was an honor to grow up with him and to get taught by him and be one of his kids.
Last question for you. I know you guys got to run. And Korie, you know, all the kids you have, all the grandkids you have, and by the way, you don't look like a grandma. You look so young. It's crazy how many grandkids you have when I saw. But how is that like now, passing that on to the next couple generations, Duck Commander, and being, you know, celebrities?
You know, it is really a blessing, the fact that we get to do this together. I think a lot of, you know, you look at a lot of people who become famous or whatever, it's like they're by themselves, and the fact that we all got to do it together, we kind of know what each other's going through, we're able to encourage one another in it, so I think that's been really, really sweet. But yeah, we are already at 9 grandkids. We have, Stellan and Mary Kate have twins on the way, so that'll put us at 11, and it's happening fast. Life goes by fast.
Great stuff. Everybody should check it out. Duck Dynasty, the revival on A&E, and now this month you can see all 10 episodes on Hulu. We've been speaking with Willie and Korie. Of course, they're Robertsons. Congratulations, you guys, and many more seasons to come.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
All right. You're welcome. And we have open lines the rest of the hour at 1-800-878-PLAY. And I need to give you my predictions in the W.